The following recording is one of the 38 workshops presented by and for members of the Adult Children of Alcoholics Fellowship at the 7th Annual ACA World Convention held virtually May 21st and 22nd, 2022. The AWC is hosted by the ACA World Service Organization and was made possible through the dedication and energy of ACA members giving service by sharing their experience, strength, and hope. Please visit the adultchildren.org website for more information about ACA, for worldwide ACA meeting listings, or to make a 7th tradition contribution. We hope that you enjoy the following workshop from the 7th Annual ACA World Convention, and the theme was Beyond Mere Survival, Action Coming from Love.
Okay, welcome home. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our worldwide ACA Fellowship. Welcome to our 7th Annual ACA World Convention. This is the largest gathering of adult children in the world, connecting our, hold on a second, I gotta move my screen so I can read it. Connecting our ACA members, our family of choice, to each other all around the planet to share experience, strength, and hope as we recover from the effects of dysfunctional childhoods. While the pandemic brought challenges to us all, it also brought us together as a truly global fellowship as we found belonging and connection with others, healing from the effects of family dysfunction. This convention is being hosted by the ACA World Services Organization, WSO, and our theme this year is Beyond Mere Survival, Action Coming from Love. This year we have 38 sessions running nearly 40 hours around the clock and around the world. My name is Ken, and I'm located in Long Beach, California, and this session is on a tool called the Intimacygram. Anonymity, to preserve everybody's anonymity, the spiritual foundation of all of our traditions. Please be sure to rename yourself to show only your first name and last initial. This session is being Zoomed worldwide, as well as being broadcast on a streaming channel and audio recorded. The audio will be available for listening and the download on the adultchildren.org website. We therefore ask that you do not record any audio, video, or take any pictures of any part of the AWC. We also request that you do not share the Zoom links on any social media, website, or email list. Registration will be open throughout the event and anybody can register. This is to protect the serenity of the event, and we thank you all for your cooperation. Safety. During the meeting, all participants will be muted. Chat will be closed to all, but you will be able to contact the host at all times. Please do not send chat messages to the presenter unless prompted to do so. When a volunteer is requested to read or answer a question, please use the Zoom raise hand feature at that time. You'll be asked to unmute when it is your turn to speak. The chat feature will only be open for participants before and after the main session, or if asked by the presenters to post questions or otherwise interact with the meeting via the function. Please remember that what you hear at this meeting should remain at the meeting. We do not talk about another person's story or experiences to other people. Please respect the privacy to all those who share with us today. While we're on video, please be mindful of others and turn off your video if you are eating, smoking, not currently in view. In other words, your camera is showing the ceiling, moving around, or in a public area with other people present. I hope sipping coffee can count though. Opening, we meet to share the experience we had growing up in an environment where abuse, neglect, and trauma infected our childhoods and still affects us today. While our members may be from homes where addiction was present, it is not a requirement. The only requirement for membership in ACA is the desire to recover from the effects of growing up in an alcoholic or otherwise dysfunctional environment. By practicing the 12 steps and by accepting that we can't recover alone, we identify with the problem or the laundry list and learn to live in the solution of reparenting ourselves with gentleness, humor, love, and respect, one day at a time. Please join me in our opening the meeting with the ACA Serenity Prayer. in whatever language that calls to your heart. Everybody ready? God. The ACA adapted 12 steps. Number 1, we admitted we were powerless over the effects of alcoholism or other family dysfunction, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand God. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked God to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand God, praying only for knowledge of God's will for us and the power to carry it out. And 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry these messages to others who still suffer and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Thank you, everyone. Okay, that's it for the readings. So I'm going to talk to you tonight about a coping tool. I'm very honored and excited to be here because this is, I think, the 5th or 6th convention that I've taught this. Over the years, I've expanded it, and when I teach it now at my job, I usually take about 3 hours to go over, so I'm going to condense it here. But I'm also going to start with a share, which is something I don't normally do. But tonight there was a little bit of a glitch in the plans. I wasn't on the schedule. There were emails that weren't being received. And it reminded me of when I was about 13 or 14 years old. I was involved in community theater, and I was the house manager of the local production. And the night of opening night, we got the flyers, and I looked, and I was not listed, and I was devastated. And they went through and they printed something, and they put a little insert inside the program that had my name on it that said I was house manager. And I still was extremely devastated because every time somebody would open up their flyer, my little piece of paper would flutter to the floor. And it really hurt me. And today, from working through program, I can be flexible. I wasn't sure if this was going to happen tonight or not happen tonight, but it was like, you know, I can let this go to my higher power. And if it's meant to be, it happens. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. And I really like this place in my life now because it's so much nicer when I don't have to live in that really uncomfortable place of feeling bad all the time. So recovery works. Thank you for letting me share that. The tool that I want to teach you is called an intimacygram, which is basically a way to diagram intimacy, the quality of the relationships in your life, as well as the balance that you have in your life. And I'll try to make this interesting. I know this is late for some of us and late for me. So I'll try to hopefully keep you all awake and won't be stuttering too much. When I get tired, I kind of mumble a little bit. So I'll try to keep this clear. And the first place I'd want to start with this is, it's kind of like creating a map to find yourself. And nowadays, if we're somewhere and we're not sure exactly where we are, and let's say we're running errands, we're on a different part of town, and we want a cup of coffee. Well, normally the first thing we do is we pull up our phone And when we pull up our phone, we go to the GPS and we look at where we are. And y'all know what's in the middle of the GPS. There's a little blue dot, and that blue dot is you. And then from there, you can look and see, is there a Starbucks? Is there a Denny's? Is there Coffee Bean? Whatever the local coffee shop that you like, you can look on the map and you can see where they are. You can see how close they are to you. And maybe the ones that you really want to go to are in the opposite direction. So you have to make up your mind. Do you want to go the extra mile to go to what you really want? Or is there something along the way that is also okay for you to stop by? But we have a sense of direction and we have choice once we have that screenshot on that map of knowing where we're going to be. So if you have a pencil and paper, what I would like you to do now is I would like you to number from like 1 to 30, because we're going to come up with a list right now of 1 to 30. And this is where I'm going to need participation. So in a minute, I will ask you to raise your hands to help out if you're available. And what we're going to do is we're going to define intimacy. I'm going to try to talk about 6 different parts of the intimacy gram today. And the first part are the factors of intimacy, the parts that make a relationship intimate. And I define intimacy as closeness. So when people tell me, one of the factors of intimacy is closeness, these are all ways that we are close to other people around us. So I'm going to write down on my list as we make this list together. Who would like to start telling me some of the things that make relationships intimate? You could raise your hand if you want to. When we do this in person, people just start shouting out, and I usually get a volunteer to stand at the dry erase board and write stuff down. So I can't see if anybody has their hand up right now.
Ken, can you open up your participants window and see the raised hands?
Let's see here. Oh, I got them now. Yes. Okay. Top of my list is Catherine.
Oh, hey, vulnerability.
Vulnerability. Thank you. So everyone write down vulnerability for number 1. Thank you. Carol B.
How about trust?
Okay, number 2, trust. Thank you. Something that ACAs struggle with. Yes. Mike, what's number 3?
Can I put my hand up again for you?
There we go. I was trying to unmute. Sorry. I was going to say trust, but let's say honesty.
Honesty. Thank you, Mike. Elisa.
Love.
Thank you. Number 4 is love. Kathy T.
Thank you. Mutuality.
Can you be more specific?
Mutuality between myself and another.
Okay. When I say I break this down, usually I usually use the word shared. So shared, mutual, same thing. But there's a lot of different things that we share with other people. So can you think of one specific thing that is mutual that we can share with another person?
Truth.
Okay, so shared truth. Thank you, Kathy. Hope I don't say this incorrectly. Shangri-La.
Oh, actually, Tammy was next, Ken.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tammy?
Oh, sorry. I lost the Zoom window of my phone. Hi, thank you. I was going to say authenticity.
Okay, number 6, authenticity. Now Shangri-La.
Silence, ability to be silent with a close or an intimate partner.
Thank you. Number 7, ability to be or share silence. I used to work with teenagers and we would drive up to the mountains, and sometimes on the way back, I had a truck with a bench seat, and sometimes the teenagers would fall asleep with their heads on my shoulder, and the other people I worked with would say, you know, oh, the kids are bored. And I would be like, no, I don't look at it that way. I look at that they enjoy the silence so much that they feel safe enough to fall asleep like that. So I agree with that one too. So thank you. Katie.
How about respect?
Thank you. Number 8 is respect. Kathy S.
Safety.
Safety. And then I would put / security. Okay. Sonia.
How about shared understanding?
Shared understanding. Or just simply understanding. When I
Sure.
when I do this with couples and I hand the couples these lists and I say, what's the most important thing on here that you want to work on? Oftentimes being understood is just like paramount for everybody. Okay, thank you. Next up is Elisa.
Friendship.
Okay, friendship. And you'll find a lot of these things also are factors that go into friendship. Okay, Joel.
Complete acceptance.
Okay, complete acceptance. And sometimes as we're working on intimacy, we might be slowly working towards the complete acceptance, but we might not have the complete acceptance in the beginning because that's something that we're working towards as we're coming together. Dottie.
Communication.
Thank you. Number 13, communication. And that was number 13. I always am amazed where this one comes up. Sometimes it comes up as number 1. Sometimes like we're already at number 40 and it hasn't even come up yet. And it's one of the most important ones because how else do we have all this other stuff if we can't communicate trust and honesty and love? So thank you, Dottie. Ariana.
Validation.
Number 14, validation. Kathy?
Dynamic tolerance.
Okay, 15, dynamic tolerance. Sonia?
How about physical touch?
Touch, yes, thank you. And then I would put / affection. Kind of the same thing. Yeah, I will add one today that I was listening to someone speaking, and this really stood out for me, and that's shared culture and language. And I was thinking about a lot of people I know that are in relationships with people from other cultures, and sometimes they don't even speak the language that well with each other, and how that creates such a division with them down the line. So number 17 is shared culture and language. Okay, Janet.
Okay, am I on? Commitment.
Thank you, commitment. Anybody want to guess at the other dreaded C word that comes along with commitment? People in relationships have a hard time with this one. Anybody want to guess? Tanya?
I would say compromise.
Yes, ding, 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 ding. Yes, that's the dreaded C word in relationships, compromise. So
And
hard sometimes.
I'm sorry, Gia from Italy has been trying, she can't raise her hand. She's been actively raising it. Could you, I tried to tell her how to raise her hand, but.
Oh, but that's fine. No, if she can unmute, if she'd like to.
Gia, would you like to unmute and talk to Ken?
Thank you. I couldn't find the icon to raise the hand. I don't know why, but I share my word is no masks.
No masks. Okay. So I would put down for that, another word for that might be authenticity. And greetings from California. I love Italy. So, my heart goes out to where you are. Okay, Ariana, 21.
Oh, this was a response to the dreaded C word, but it doesn't really feel dreaded. Compassion.
Okay, no, that's not the dreaded one, but no, compassion does go on the list. Thank you. Kathy?
Quiet listening.
Quiet listening. Okay, that goes with communication, because communication, there's two parts to communication, which is the being able to feel like you can talk, as well as the being able to listen. So I would just add that to the communication. Okay. Cherie and Gary?
Conflict resolution.
Okay, conflict resolution. I think for conflict resolution, you have to have something that starts with a P. Anybody want to guess what that is? I'll just put out there, patience. So used to spelling it with a T, I got to spell it with a C. Okay, Sonia, number 24.
Well, I was going to say conflict as well. I was thinking that might be the dreaded C word. So how about common interests?
Okay, thank you. Common interests. And the history behind this list, years ago, I was working and I was running a support group for men, and in the next room was a therapy group for women. And I used to go to dinner with other therapists. And one night we were talking about intimacy and just saying, you know, do women look at intimacy different than men? And we both decided to have our groups come up with a list that night. And it was interesting afterwards comparing the lists. And over the years, it seems like every time I do this, the list just gets longer and longer. Judy, what would you like to contribute to this list?
I put attunement.
Okay, attunement.
And I have another, but if you just want one.
No, you can give me another one.
Collaboration.
Collaboration. Okay, thank you. Lindsay.
Mine is presence or connection.
Presence. I like presence. I mean, these are all ways that we connect, but sometimes, you know, just being present with somebody. Yeah. Carol?
How about tolerance and/or forgiveness?
Okay, forgiveness and tolerance. Yes, I know as ACA, sometimes we have a really high tolerance level for bad behavior sometimes, but sometimes it's helpful to have tolerance. Sometimes we need it. It goes along with patience, right? Okay, Sandy?
Shared values.
Shared values, yes. Thank you. Janet?
Loyalty.
Loyalty, yes. Thank you. Elisa?
Thank you. Play and laughter.
Play and laughter. Sometimes I call that shared humor because everyone wants the humor thing, but it's like, well, not everybody has the same type of humor. So yeah, you want to be able to play with somebody that can also play at the same level as you. Yes.
And I had one more. I was going to say sex, and I know we said touch.
Oh, no. Sex counts.
There you go.
That's the difference. That's I mean, that's more of an extreme form of affection, maybe, but yeah, no, definitely sex. Yes. So thank you. Shangri-La.
Yeah, so I think food is a very important part of any closeness. Or I don't know how to put it, you know, eating food together, sharing interests in that. I've seen relationships break up in India because people don't eat the same kind of food.
Okay, I'll just put food on there because that's kind of a new one for me, but I've never done this internationally before. So that's, I understand that different cultures connect differently, and intimacy could be different in different cultures based on the norms and the rules of the social structure. So definitely, thank you.
Yeah. So I put in both the cuisine in and of itself and the eating habits. I would put both of them in there because of the various cultures. So, you know, some people use utensils, some people don't. Some people are happy to eat off a banana leaf. Some people need, you know, ceramic plates. So there's a wide variety, and that also causes a lot of stress in relationships, whether they are couples or just neighbors, whatever. Thank you.
Well, and I know too that a lot of times, a lot of us, when we were brought up, there was either a lot of violence at the dinner table, or there was no eating together, that there was just grab food and go into your own room or watch TV or something like that. So a lot of intimacy lost because of that. So thank you. Call in user number 1.
Hi, this is Sharon, California. Tenderness.
Tenderness, thank you. You can write a song about some of these. Sonia?
Okay, I have a few of them, if I may.
Okay.
The first one is clear boundaries.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then I was thinking about all of the love languages, and we already addressed physical touch or affection. Then I was also thinking about like quality time, acts of service, words of affirmation, and
Hold on,
gifts.
slow down.
Okay,
Quality
sorry.
time. Number
Quality time.
Number 37 is acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the next one?
Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation, which would kind of go along with it's kind of a cross between communication and affection. Words of affirmation. Words of affirmation are what I call verbal hugs. Sometimes we give people verbal hugs.
Aww.
Okay.
And then the last one is gifts.
Gifts. Okay. Okay. Thank you. We're going to have a bigger list because of that. Thank you. Okay. So was that you, Sonia, or Sonia next? Or Cheryl? Cheryl's next.
I would say, how about reciprocity?
Did we get that yet or not? No. So reciprocity.
Give and take.
Right. And I would put with that / equity.
Okay.
Or balance. That's all kind of the same thing. So I don't know why I can't say it right now, but reciprocity, equity, and balance all together. That's number 40. Okay. And next would be Tammy.
Unmute. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
It kept saying the host will not allow people to unmute. Okay, thank you. I have 4, if it's okay.
Okay.
I don't think I've heard. Clarity, empathy, spirituality, and consistency.
Okay. So for spirituality, I put down that as shared beliefs.
Cool. Okay.
Because sometimes one person might be spiritual and the other one isn't, and some people can make that work out and some people can't. So, being able to respect each other's beliefs, and sometimes if you share the same beliefs, definitely. Thank you. Okay, Donna.
Space.
Space, okay. That might go along with healthy boundaries too. Okay. Carol?
This may be redundant, reciprocity and balance, but I was thinking equality.
Okay, well, let's put equality. It's a little bit different than equity. Okay, Tanya?
Self-awareness, individual interests.
Okay, individual interests. Well, relationships really are as strong as what each person brings into the relationship, right? So thank you. Danielle?
Can you hear me? Hi, I'm Daniel.
Oh, Daniel.
Yeah, it might already be there, but a change, growth, and me time.
Okay, well, the me time would be space. But I would put for growth, I would put encouragement. So number 48 is encouragement, because you're encouraging growth.
I got 41 with that.
And challenge. Well, if you don't have everything, that's fine. I'll go down the list when we're all done. The bottom line is you're seeing that intimacy is a lot of things. It's not just, just one little thing. There's a few that are missing. Can anybody think of any more? I'll give you guys a hint. We have on here touch and we have on here sex. What happens between the two? Ariana?
Is it cuddles?
That's kind of affection. What would the next level of affection be? Cheryl?
I would say bonding.
Okay, we'll put bonding. What I was looking for was either, because both of these are important, romance.
Mm.
And then the other one that happens a lot of times before sex is passion. One of the times I did this, I asked what happens before sex and somebody shouted out, dinner. Okay, a few more here. Sonia, did you have others?
I'm sorry, Ken, can you repeat the name of the person you're asking?
Sonia?
There we go, unmuted. Might be a little graphic. I was trying to answer your question from before. I was gonna say foreplay.
Okay, well, foreplay is passion, yeah.
Yeah, I like passion.
Okay,
that's great.
Yeah. Okay. Elisa?
Oh, thank you. Meditation and sleep.
Okay, well, I think those would be kind of fall under the shared, what do we have there? Kind of like shared values, that you and shared.
What about sleep? Because to be able to sleep was just to sleep. That's like kind of intimate.
Would that be comfort and security though?
Maybe, yeah. Trust, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, trust. There's a lot of gray areas with this. Yeah, so some of these there's gray areas between, and some of them you can add other things that are very similar to this. And I'm sure when we add other people with other languages, the interesting thing I have on here, which is love, came up at number 4. In the English language, we have one word for love, and it could be like the love you have for your car, the love you have for your country, the love you have for your spouse, the love you have for your parent. There's so many different types of love, and in our language, we just put it into one word. So I know different languages have different ways of breaking this stuff down. So, okay, call-in user number 1.
How about kissing?
Kissing would be touch. That's another form of touch. Yeah. Okay, Sonia, did you have another one?
Okay, I think, yes, I do. What about just the ability to have conflict. Like, because sometimes couples can be very conflict avoidant. So it's like just knowing that there is openness to have a disagreement.
How about calling that maybe shared maturity?
Sure.
Because that way, you know, you're mature enough to know it's not the end of the world. You know, it's we can agree to disagree, and we know we'll get through this. And as my favorite saying is, it's not my hill to die on. So
sure.
yeah.
I've been in relationships before that I felt were fairly mature, but it was very conflict avoidant, that we just avoided conflict just so that we didn't rock the boat.
Okay, well, somewhere on here we have conflict resolution too, which would be kind of along the same lines as that. Okay, so
sure.
let me.
I think it's okay. Yeah.
Okay, let me. I think there's a couple that we might be missing here. I don't think we have accountability yet. Chemistry. If you've ever tried to have people meet each other because you just know they're going to be perfect together because they have so much in common, and you get them together and they just miss that chemistry. Chemistry is very important. Maybe mutual attraction. Time and availability, which also goes for proximity. It's harder to be close to people when they live thousands of miles away than if they're right in the same room with you. And I know we were mentioned earlier how Zoom and the pandemic brought everyone together. It did, but it's still not the same magic that happens when you're actually sitting in a room with another human being. History. If you have history with somebody, even though you might not be that close with them, if you're in a room full of strangers and you see somebody that you used to know, you might be gravitated more towards that person. A couple of years ago at work, it was really hard for me because a woman that I worked with, who was like my work wife, retired. And it was very hard for me to adjust. But the interesting thing is the person that took her place happened to be somebody who was a gym partner of mine 18 years before. So because we had a previous history, it just made him adjusting to work so much better. And I didn't feel the loss of my friend as much because I kind of regained an old one back. So history with somebody is important. Okay, this is a really good list. So let me just go down what we had really quick. I know everybody didn't get everything, but that's okay. What we have is vulnerability, trust, honesty, love, shared truth, authenticity, ability to share silence, respect, safety and security, shared understanding, friendship, complete acceptance, communication, validation, dynamic tolerance, touch and affection, shared culture and language, commitment, compromise, no masks, authenticity, compassion, conflict resolution, patience, common interests, attunement, collaboration, presence, forgiveness and tolerance, shared values, loyalty, play and laughter, sex, food, cuisine and eating habits, tenderness, clear boundaries, quality time, acts of service, words of affirmation, gifts, reciprocity, equity and balance, clarity, empathy, shared beliefs, consistency, space, equity, individual interests, encouragement, challenge, bond, romance, passion, shared maturity, accountability, chemistry, mutual attraction, time availability and proximity, and history. And oh, one other one, shared goals. Okay, I had 59. I don't know who had more, who had less, but I had 59, and you guys get the gold star. This is the biggest list we've ever come up with. So a question I have for some of you right now, if anybody can share on this, is there anybody who looks at this list and sees a whole bunch of things on there that they said, I don't know what these are, didn't grow up with these, don't know how to do this? Anybody here see anything on here as a fellow traveler that is kind of foreign to them because of their home environment growing up? Tammy, can you elaborate a little bit, please?
All of them, because I was taken away from my mom at 9.
Mm.
And then my dad married twice more. And so I had 2 other dysfunctional families. So yeah, and that's why I'm an ACA.
Okay. And that's why I do this list, because it's a never too late to learn this stuff, I believe. Thank you, Tammy. Annette?
Hi, this is Annette. I think I know all the words, but I also know that I'm struggling with so many of them, which of course is why I joined RCA originally. And there were some of them where I thought, oh, wow, I understand that if proximity is something that is needed for intimacy, I understand why I have problems keeping friends that moves away. They drift out of my life, even though they're close friends. And yeah, so I know them all, but I've struggled with so many of them. Thanks.
Okay. And Anita?
Hello, thank you for your workshop. I was thinking that in all my relationship, I always stayed vigilante. So there always was a little antenna of suspicion and untrust and fear. So it would weigh on my ability to connect and to trust. And I realized that recently, that even in the, with my couples, long time relationship, I was also in that state of alert and fear. So I'm not sure I ever, totally connected and relaxed in the presence of a human being I'm sharing my life with, except for my daughter. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I have a whole other list too of intimacy killing factors, like fear is one, anger is another. So there's a whole list that goes along with this that destroys these things. And I think a lot of us grew up with that list, unfortunately.
Interesting.
Victoria? Go ahead.
I was just wondering if you will share those lists afterwards.
I can. What I can do is I can put my email in the chat. And if anybody would like those lists, I have them. I think they're on a Word document. And I have a blank diagram. I'm going to show you how to do the diagramming. I can send you a blank diagram too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Victoria? Or did I just say you?
There. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Hello. Yes, a lot of them I don't know, like in my body, or yeah, I can't sense them, but the one who really hurts is the presence one. To be together, to share time. I feel like I want to cry almost, because I was left as a child. So just to be present with someone and to just show myself, that's the really hardest one. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, they say the solution is to become your own loving parent, and the things that we did not get as a child, we need to give to ourselves. So if we didn't get touch, maybe we need to do things to soothe ourselves. If we didn't get love or compassion, then maybe we need to be the first ones to reach in and, you know, grasp that little kid inside of us and give ourselves that love and compassion as a place to start. So that's a big part of this. Okay, so if you could lower your hands, I'm going to kind of move on to the next thing in a minute. But what I would invite you guys to do is, if there's one thing on this list, just one thing that you would like to try to practice working on, to try to just focus on one of these, and for the next week or two with all of your relationships, just kind of be cognizant of that one thing and see if that helps you to draw that out a little bit more. And oftentimes what I hear when people do that, if maybe they pick time, they spend more time with people. You know, the woman from India who said food, you know, maybe that you really embellish that time together, that's your togetherness time, and you really put an emphasis on that. Or maybe more of an emphasis on communication with people. But to see if you put that energy out there, to see who returns it back to you. Because oftentimes once we start something, it's mirrored back to us. Okay. So this is the first part, which is the factors of intimacy. And when I think of these factors, and when you put them all together, I think of Legos. So I don't know if everybody all over the world has Legos. I know that they originated in Denmark, so they're probably all over the world. But I like to think of our relationships based on building blocks like Legos. And if you go to the store and you buy a box of Legos, you've got some Lego boxes that are really small, don't have a lot of pieces, they're very, very empty. And those are the relationships that we have that don't have many of these factors in them. There might not be a lot of love, there might not be a lot of understanding or a lot of communication. And then in other relationships, ideally, we would like to have the big Mogambo box of Legos that have, not only do they have everything in the box, but they've got hundreds and hundreds of each of those pieces, so that there's just so much love in this box, and communication and understanding and passion and all this stuff. But to realize that every single relationship you have, whether it be with your spouse, your parents, your siblings, your children, your neighbors, your coworkers, everybody represents a different box of Legos. Okay. And I work with people in addiction, and when they're practicing their addiction, what happens is they lose a lot of these factors if they have them. And a lot of the people I work with didn't have them to begin with because they're ACAs. They came out of traumatic families and turned to drugs and alcohol as a way of self-soothing and nurturing themselves, unfortunately. So we work on trying to build healthy boxes of Legos. So number one is factors of intimacy. And the second part I want to talk about are the different levels of intimacy. And for the sake of this, I try to keep it simple. I break the levels down into 5 distinct levels. So think of on a scale of 1 to 100. The first level is 0 to 20%. This is the least amount of intimacy. So if you're talking about Lego boxes, these would be the smallest boxes and the most empty boxes. So I call this distant. This level of intimacy is distant. The second level of intimacy, which is 20% to 40%, is familiar. 40 to 60% is personal. 60 to 80% is private. And 80 to 100% is true private. So I want you to envision a bookcase that has 5 shelves. And you've got a floor full of Lego boxes, and you're going to put each Lego box in the proper shelf. So the bottom shelf, which is 0 to 20%, you're probably going to have a lot of boxes. They're very small, they don't have a lot of pieces, and that's okay. And each level that you go up, you're going to have fewer and fewer. And the top level, true private, I consider this your most spiritual level. And you can disagree with me if you want. I usually don't put living people or spouses in this category. This is where I say that you would want to put your soulmates. And a soulmate is somebody that you are perfectly connected to. You can finish each other's sentences. You can read each other's mind. And I don't really believe in soulmates. And I have a couple friends who think they found their soulmates, and I'm happy for them. And if that's true for them, I'm very happy for them. But for most people, I believe that soulmates is a concept that Hollywood created. And one of the reasons why we were always disappointed in other people is because we have this expectation of happily ever after, and life just doesn't work that way for most people. So with the top shelf, 80 to 100%, this is where we put our higher power and our spirituality. And when I say we put them here, these are ideals. This isn't necessarily where it is. Okay. Because the other thing that a lot of people put on their top shelf is their addiction. And when I say addiction, it could be chemical addiction, it could be drugs, alcohol, it could be shopping, gambling, pornography. There's a lot of different things that constitute addiction. I have a lot of people I work with that once they get clean and sober, they all of a sudden are into online shopping. So this becomes their spirituality. And oftentimes when that happens, your connection to whatever your higher power is gets kicked down to the bottom. So a lot of times in recovery, whether we're talking about recovery from substance abuse or recovery from childhood trauma, it's so important to try to find what our connection is to whatever we feel is our higher power. Okay, so higher power is up there, our addiction or drug of choice, if that's what we're dealing with. Pets are also there. Our relationship with pets can be extremely spiritual. And relationships with children, if we had our relationship with a newborn, that's something that's a spiritual relationship when you hold your child for the first time. I also believe that the relationships we hold with people that we have loved who have passed becomes a spiritual relationship, and we hold those people close to our heart. And then the other one, which is the closest to like a soulmate, would be an identical twin. Curious, are there any identical twins in this group tonight? A raise of hands. I've worked with enough identical twins. It's very interesting how they might not like that they dress alike, but they go to different stores on different days to pick out clothing, and then they end up buying the same thing or getting the same pair of glasses at a different optometrist. And there's just something kind of unique and spiritual about the twin relationship. So does anybody have any comments or questions about the top spiritual level of intimacy? If you do, raise your hand, please. No questions? Tammy.
Yes, thank you. Did you say addictions or higher power is on this top level?
Yes.
Okay.
Because remember, this is the closeness to us. And if we really work on having a relationship with our higher power, that's connection. And, it could be higher power to God. It could be higher power to the universe. It could be higher power to the consciousness of the people in the rooms. Whatever that is, that's something that we can hold close to our heart. When we're using substances, that substance becomes the higher power. I work with a lot of people that alcoholics and drug addicts, and they don't like the concept of a higher power. And I always argue with them. It's like, well, when you were drinking, it's like you were congregating just like you would congregate in a church, only your place of worship was a bar or, someone's garage, and you all had kind of the same language and the same rituals. And you maybe even have an altar in your house called a wet bar or a liquor cabinet. You're very protective of your higher power. Alcohol is even referred to as spirits. So if it's so hard for you to understand a higher power, why is it so hard for you to let go of this other one? Because it really is. So they're interchangeable. So I always say that we're in transition all the time. And if you're dealing with recovery, you are in an incredible state of transition. Because a lot of times you have to really look at your identity and your belief system and the social circles that you belong to and realize that maybe those aren't working for you, and you have to transition your way of thinking and your belief system and the way you go through life so much differently. So it's a struggle for some people. So yeah, those are up there, the higher power. Okay. Niall? Did you have a comment, Niall?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great, thank you. No, he said some great things over the last, during the whole meeting, but the last 15 minutes around the boxes and the priorities for the boxes. Is that something which will be presented on a slide deck or something later on, or was it? I was in and out of the meeting, unfortunately. I didn't really get half of some of the things that you were saying with the boxes. Is that something you'd share with us? Or?
Yes, I'm gonna tie this all in together. So yes.
Oh, brilliant. Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and then one last comment from John. I'm looking at the time here, so I just want to make sure we still have it. John B.
Hi, sorry, I can't. I'm just wondering. You said about these spiritual relationships, which I thought was really interesting. I just wondered about that. I non-addictive sort of healthy hobbies, sports. Things that are are sort of spiritual or take us more into that spiritual realm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm going to talk about that in the next part. Absolutely. So thanks, John. So let me just go down the list real quick. The spiritual one is kind of the most interesting one. When we move down to the private level, 60 to 80%, this is where we really ideally want to put our spouses. This is where we want to put our best friends. Some of us are really close with our parents, or we might have, a kid that ends up being our best friend, our sponsor. This is where we ideally want to put those people. We move down to the personal level, which is the middle shelf, which is 40 to 60%. This is where we put our good friends. Maybe this is where we put our brothers and sisters, just people that we can somewhat rely on. They're not our best friends, but they're not just acquaintances either. 20 to 40% familiar. This is our fair weather friends. These are people that, we might do a lot of stuff with. We might hang out with a lot. We might have a lot in common, but we only have like half of the pieces of the box of Legos. We might not have the other half. The friendships might be really specific based on what realm in our life that they belong to. Maybe our neighbors fall into that. And then the bottom level, which is 0 to 20% distant, this is where we put our acquaintances. This is where we put the people that we, maybe see at meetings. We know them by name. We know them by how many years they have clean and how many years they have in the program. But we really don't know much about them other than that. Coworkers might fall under this. People that might live in the same building as us that we're not really that close with. This is where we put distant. And the reason I like to look at this is because we're going to be looking at it in a minute as far as like, are people on the shelf where we want them to be? Some people that we have really close to us, we really don't need them that close because they might be toxic. So we might need to bump them down to the bottom shelf. And there's other people at the bottom shelf that might be really, really cool people that we really need to spend more time with, but our fear or whatever is keeping them away. And we need to work on building that and adding those pieces to those boxes so that we can build a closer relationship with them. So I'm going to move on to the third concept right now. Third concept is called life realms. And I wish I had all my visuals with you, but this here is a pie cutter. And if I could, I would give everybody here a pie because that's what we have. We all have one pie. We do not have half a pie. We do not have two pies. We do not have a pie and a half. Everybody in this meeting has one whole pie. And a pie is how we slice our life. And if we work 40 hours a week, then like probably half of our pie might be our work slice. So the slices are our life realms, the areas that we swim through in our life from day to day, week to week, month to month. ACA is certainly a big life realm for some people. Your home is a life realm. Your job is a life realm. If you attend a church, if you belong to a bowling league or a football team, all of these are different life realms. If you are going to school, that would be another life realm. I work with people that have gotten in trouble with the law. So they're going to things that are court related. So there's different areas of our life that we swim through. And this kind of goes what you were saying a few minutes ago about, getting outside and doing things physically to bring yourself closer to your higher power, because the life realms serve a purpose, and there's different benefits that we get from each of these life realms that we have. And some of us have a lot of life realms, and some of us only have a few. They serve the purpose of being social. So life realms help us to interact with other people. They can be spiritual, helping us to connect with a greater essence. They could be recreational, meaning that they get us outside, they get us to exercise, they get our blood moving and release all the good chemicals in our brain. They could be something to help us better ourselves, either vocational or educational, meaning we do it because we want to learn or we want to get paid. We might have realms that are medical, going to the doctor serves a purpose for our health, or they might be legal. They could be a combination of these things. So if you belong to a hiking group, that could be something that is social, spiritual, and recreational. Great thing to go out into the woods and go hiking and be talking to other people, yet still maybe have some time alone to yourself to be able to do some meditation and some breathing. And you're getting some physical benefit from it too. So life realms are really important. And like I say, it's kind of how you slice your pie. So I don't know if you can all see this, but this would be kind of like one way that you would slice your pie. And some people don't have this work realm. Some people are retired. I recently cut back on my hours at work from 40 to 32. So my work slice got a little bit smaller. So I'm going to add some more recreational stuff on there, and I might take on some side jobs as well. I'm not really sure yet, but I want to enjoy life and I want to keep the balance going. And oftentimes our lives are stressed when we lose the balance in our pie. And working with people in substance abuse, oftentimes when they relapse, they can look at their pie and they can tell me exactly which slice was off kilter that threw everything out of whack and led to their relapse. Okay. Some of us have too many slices because we are overachievers and we try to get too much stuff done. Others of us don't have enough because we isolate. There are two types of pies, or two types of slices. We have our have-tos and our want-tos. The have-tos are the things like going to work. The want-tos are the things that we really enjoy doing. And our self-esteem can vary depending on which slice that we're in. And there are three slices that I consider dark realms. And the dark realms are the slices that really throw us out of balance. The first dark realm is addiction. So if we belong to a group of people that, you know, go drinking all the time, if we belong to a group of people that like going to casinos, all of this is a slice that could start to infect all the other slices. The other slice is codependency. Codependency is when you have a slice that is one person. Now, if you live alone with your spouse, that's not necessarily codependency. That could be your home slice and you have one person in that slice. Codependency is when that person is that slice. That's everything. And that throws your wheel off. And then the third dark realm is boredom, because usually when we find ourselves bored is when we find ourselves going back to doing some of the other destructive patterns that we're trying to get rid of in recovery. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to show you really quick what we do now. And like I said, when we're done, I will put in the chat, I will put my email address. If anybody wants, I can email this to you over the next few days. But what you do is you make a diagram where you start with, in the very center of the paper, you draw a circle about the size of an American quarter. And from that, you draw out 1, 2, 3, 4 circles. So it looks almost like you throw a pebble in a pond and you have the ripples coming out. And you put your name and the date in the very middle here, because these diagrams are good to do like every few months in early recovery, because they change. The people in your life changes, and the realms you have in your life, the size of them and the impact they have changed. So it's really good to do this every couple of months for the first year in your recovery. So you're in the center. The next circle out, this is your true private level of intimacy. The next circle is your private, personal, familiar, and the very edge of the paper is distant. And then you start slicing your pie. So when you're done, your pie is going to look like a spider web. You might have one slice that is work. You might have another one that's your home. I have a slice that is a catch-all that I call friends and family, because I had a slice when I was in elementary school, but then I left and I went to high school, and then I left and went to college. But along the way, there were certain people at different places of my life, whether it be school or work, that even though I might not be working in that job anymore, I still held on to the friends. So if I have a party or a barbecue and I invite all my friends over, I have everybody from this slice of friends and family. And because I invite them all over at the same time, they all kind of know each other now. So they've kind of created their own slice. Some people might fit in more than one slice, and that's okay. What you do when you're all done with chopping this up is you start putting people where they are in here. So the people that are distant in your life, like in your work slice, who are the people that are the most distant? You'd put them on the outside. And then the people that have more of the factors of intimacy, you move inward. Let's see if I have a completed drawing on here. So there's X's on here, but these X's should be names. And when you get done and you look at this, you can ask yourself, realistically, are the people on here where you want them to be? Sometimes we have people in our lives that are rather toxic, and we need to put an arrow and not necessarily get rid of them, but maybe kind of bump their importance out a little bit. And there's other people that might be really good for us that we've been avoiding, that are just kind of hovering on the outskirts, that we need to target them. And we need to say, hey, I need to start maybe more communication with this person. I need to put my hand out more at meetings and start to get to know people. I need to put an effort into either X, Y, or Z factor of intimacy so that you can make this more balanced and make it how you want it to be. So I'm going to go over 3 other things really quick here. There's a lot of information on the internet on Intimacygram. So if you don't catch all of this, I know this will be recorded, so you can go to the ACA site and pull this up and refresh yourself with this, or you can also Google Intimacygram online and see what comes up. The next part is anchors, the people we have in our life that give us a sense of grounding. And I know some of us are really isolated and we don't have anybody, but anchors can be the person that we get coffee from every morning at Starbucks. That person, we might not even know their name, but they give us consistency in our life. And this is just about recognizing who those people are. Maybe it's our spouse, maybe it's our parent, maybe it's our pet. But what we do is we circle those in red just to acknowledge who they are. So that's the 4th part of this, is anchors. The 5th part of this is ghost relationships. Oftentimes we have people from our past, whether they be our abusers, our parents, somebody from our past who's casting a shadow over other relationships. Maybe the reason we can't get close to certain people is because we react to them the way that we did our mom, our dad, or somebody that was an authority figure when we were growing up. And it's really good to identify who those ghost relationships are and who are the people that we're targeting with those. Because maybe we need to remind ourselves, you know, when I talk to my boss, I have to remind myself, that's not my dad. Okay, that's my boss, not my dad. I don't need to react the same way. And the last part is, if anybody here is working the Loving Parent Guidebook, it'd be interesting for you to look at your completed diagram and to ask yourself, in each of these realms, who is present? Because we might go into work and not be really happy and have our guard up and be our inner teenager at work. Yet when we're in other situations, we might go into critical parent mode. And it's really interesting to see, when you diagram this, what personality pops up where. And of course, the goal is to awaken your loving parent and have your loving parent be more evenly distributed over this. And when I sponsor people, I always use this tool prior to working the steps, because once they do this, they can look at this and start step 1 and identify where a lot of the unmanageability was and where it came from. In step 2, it helps them to understand a higher power. And a lot of times I like to think of a higher power is just, how do you fit in the bigger scheme of life? How do you fit in with your friends and your family? You're just one piece of the puzzle. So how are you connected to all these people? And that's something that you see from here. Same with all the remaining steps. So I try to use this as a resource. And as I said, I like people to do this every few months in early recovery. My favorite time and place to do this is on an airplane, because there's not much anything else to do and I'm kind of stranded there. So I bring out a piece of paper and I review where I am in my life, in my journey. So if I could open this up for just maybe 1 or 2 questions. Like I said, this is normally a 3-hour presentation that I really condensed. So anybody have any questions? I know it's late and I hope I haven't put anybody to sleep. Call-in user number 1.
You. Sorry, they had muted me. Are you going to be doing this anywhere else, or any current further workshops or anything?
I don't have any planned right now. I did one like last January. I announced it on some of the ACA Facebook groups. So next time I do it, that's one of the places where I've been announcing it.
I'm not an ACA Facebook group, but
okay. Like I said, there's a lot of resources online.
It's been very interesting. Thank you so much. It just up a whole another thought level. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Anita?
Okay. First of all, thank you so much. So I woke up to this. This is the beginning of the convention for me. And I felt okay waking up. But there's a lot of fear because I'm giving a show in Bella in about 3 hours. And now I have anxiety because you put the bar very high on the quality of exchange you did. So thank you so much. And I want your mail in the if it's possible, because I would like the slides. It's so interesting, and also would be interested if you could mail when you do a workshop, if you have a mailing list. But the most interesting part to me that I'm gonna use on a daily basis is I had a sponsor that used to say, you know, my house is my life is a house, and then I have my bedroom. I don't let anyone in my bedroom, everyone. And there are some people that are only allowed in the garden, and then some people that are not allowed any. And that because it was all or nothing. And with this chart of 5, I realized that I sometimes move in the same conversation with someone from 3 to 5 to 1. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure where I place the relationship that I have with them. And it always takes for me a few encounters to realize that I'm not actually in the right place to have a healthy interaction with them. My expectations too high, my fear too high. And so that's going to be a good, and people evolve. So I'm guessing, you know, they can change spots, but that's going to be such a useful tool.
I always say, respect the slice of the pie that the people belong to. So if I have a group of friends that are kayakers, I might not ask them to help me if I'm moving, or I might not ask them to help me study for a test. I'm going to ask people I work with who study the same thing as me or is in school with me. Because if I ask people in a different realm to do something, I am going to be let down, because that's not what the friendship is. And a lot of us think of trust as all or nothing. And it really isn't. You know, we might trust the people that babysit for us with our kids, but we're not going to trust them to work on our car. And we might have the greatest mechanic in the world that we trust with our car, but we might not trust them with our kids. So to look at trust that way, and once we start to look at trust that way, that it's not all or nothing, it's not a switch that's off or on, it's a dimmer switch. And there's different ways that we trust people differently, depending on the realm where we place them. We start to feel the balance a little bit better. So I'm aware of the time, because I know we have to close with the Serenity Prayer. Is there a way I could open the chat now, or is the chat already open? The chat's already open. I didn't know the chat was open. Okay. This is not in the big red book. This is not in the big red book. The big red book, I've been doing this long before the big red book. I wish I was a part of the big red book. That would have been a really fantastic, exciting thing to put together. But this isn't in the big red book. Let me type in, whoops, to everybody. Where's everybody in the meeting? My email, and make sure I spell it correctly. It's defineyourself@yahoo.com. So if anybody would like that, and I can also, if you email me, I'll create a list for the next time I put this together. I can certainly send an email out to everybody because I really did enjoy doing it last time I did it. So with that said, and looking at the time, let's wrap. Yes.
I'm sorry, this is Gretchen. If I may just put the donation, share the screen for a moment, please.
Sure.
Hold on one second here. So if I might just remind you all quickly that we need to ask for the donations. The 7th tradition states that every ACA group ought to be fully self-supporting. This is the link that you may use to donate. And then also, we are looking for volunteers for service. This is another link. If you feel pleased that you would like to give service, please don't be shy. So thank you. It's all yours again.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Gretchen, for hosting. And I think we had another host in here too.
Yes, Layla, hold on a second. Layla's here. She was also wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ken. I'm so happy I was here. So happy.
Well, thank you. And I want to thank everybody who put this convention together, because I know I've been a part of other conventions and it's a lot of work. And at the last minute, it gets really, really stressful. So kudos to all of you who put this together. Thank you. So Gretchen, if you could put the Serenity Prayer back on, and we will close this with the Serenity Prayer.
Don't know which direction it goes. Here we go.
Can we get the links put in the chat too for the 7th tradition and the volunteering?
I'm doing that right now. Is that Alaska?
Yeah. Hi, Gretchen.
Hi, honey. Can you see the screen now, though?
No, not now.
Okay. So can you see it now? No. One second. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Oh.
Okay. Can I ask Gretchen to read the Serenity Prayer, please?
Oh, I would be honored. Thank you. God, grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, the courage to change the one I can, and the wisdom to know that one is me. Thank you, Ken. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, everybody. Look forward to seeing you somewhere down the line somewhere.
Yeah.